is Tina, and I am here today to talk to you about something that I discovered while I was in the jungle doing a little bit of deep spiritual work. I was taking a nap one day and I woke myself up by saying something aloud, which I never do. I am not a sleep talker that I've ever heard or known about. But I woke myself up by saying the words oversoul. And so I got up because I was so confused as to why I was saying oversoul to the point where I woke myself up, that I got up, I wrote it down. Keep in mind, I was in the jungle. I had no electricity. Everything was by candlelight at night. I was sleeping during the day because I was just really tired from the activities the day before, a lot of hiking, a lot of yoga, a lot of breath work. So anyways, I write this down and then I go back to sleep. Don't really think about it again. I mentioned it to a couple of the other guests that were there who were on this retreat with me. And nobody else knew what oversoul meant either. And so I kind of forgot about it. I've been home now for 2 weeks from the jungle, and I was doing some deep work the other night, some deep meditative work on Sunday night when I went to bed. And of course, the word oversoul pops into my head. And so at this point, I am needing to know more. And I can get into a very deep meditative state where I can see faces, I can see images, I can see colors, I can do a little bit of astral traveling. I'm very dedicated to my spirituality, and so when I get these little tidbits of information, I usually follow them deep down into a rabbit hole before I get my answers. And so I woke up, out of my meditation. I got my phone out and I put in the word oversoul. And right before that, I was seeing the image in my mind's eye, of an elder man who was, well, not older man, but a man that was not from this period of time whatsoever. It looked like somebody from the way olden days. And so I started doing research on oversoul, and I figure out that oversoul was an essay that was written by a man named Ralph Waldo Emerson in 1841. For whatever reason, I believe he was trying to get my attention so I could speak his truth. And so before I make any final thoughts or summaries or upset anyone in any way, because I know what I have concluded might upset some people in the spiritual community, especially some of my friends. And I'm not trying to upset anyone. But it's very interesting what I found out. And once I start reading you some of the quotes, you will see where I'm going with this. First of all, this man was a famous writer in the 1800s. He was a minister. He went to Harvard University, extremely brilliant man. He left the ministry when he realized that he needed to be looking more into Eastern philosophy instead of Western religion. Okay, so he created transcendentalism, and that was a movement, a very strong movement back in that period of time. So he wrote the essay called Oversoul, and I'm going to read notes because of course I don't have the whole thing memorized, but essentially, I'm going to read you some excerpts and some quotes, and then I'm going to maybe in this video just let you think about this and ponder it a while before I make any more comparisons. And I think those of you who are in the same realm, or not realm, but in the same community will understand where I'm going with this. Okay. So this is what Ralph Waldo Emerson writes in 1841. And I broke it down a little bit more. So I just, I'm reading you some of the items that I think are very important, okay? So God is accessible to all people, whether they actively seek a personal spirituality or not. Emerson asserts that there exists a spirit of prophecy, which is innate in every man. God resides in each soul, which in turn pays homage back to God. Meantime, within man is the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty, to which every part and particle is equally related, the one eternal one. My words, this is quotes from Emerson, my words do not carry its august sense. They fall short and cold. Because we cannot understand using language, the God within us, all we can do is demonstrate this presence by how we live our lives, by our actions and our characters. Understanding resists on our being moral people whose right action is submissive to the oversoul and to the common heart that we share collectively. You guys heard that lately? Emerson defines the oversoul by clarifying what it is not, a stylistic device that he uses throughout the essay. According to him, all goes to show that the soul in man is not an organ, is not a function, is not a faculty, is not the intellect or the will. Although the soul is none of these, it uses them for its purpose. For example, the soul is not an organ, but animates all organs. Although not a faculty, it uses all of them. It is not the intellect or the will, but the master of them. The soul is the force that uses all of these items for right action. But this force is not the items itself. Language cannot paint this with his colors. Emerson explains how the soul abolishes time and place, two worries of society that limit fullness of our existence. We depend too much on our physical senses rather than on our spiritual resources. The dependency has so overpowered our minds that our intuition, the faculty responsible for our spirituality, is rendered useless. An idea that can transcend time because the soul advances by an ascension of state. We gain a deeper understanding of truth, not by anything physical, but through our minds. The greater insight we gain into spirit that connects everything in our world, the closer we come to the oversoul. Emerson calls that increasingly deeper understanding the law of moral and the mental gain. For our union with the oversoul is directly linked to our actions. The more we accept this force in our lives, the more moral we become and the more moral we will choose to perform. The theme of duality is present in this section. Not only is Emerson claiming what the oversoul is and is not, but also the battle between the oversoul and our physical senses. However, these examples of duality are slightly different and more important than previous examples because they demonstrate how the oversoul actually overpowers its opposition. The soul's scale is one. The scale of the senses and the understanding is another. Before the revelations of the soul, time, space, and nature shrink away. The theme of accessibility plays a key role in the common bonds between us, because each person possesses an individual soul that is part of the oversoul, all people. The greatest person with the lowest are aware of God when speaking with one another. The soul acts as an intermediary, but we do not mention this bond when we converse, perhaps because language satisfactorily describes its existence. Touching on another important point that he discusses at greater length is self-reliance. Emerson implores us to act entirely without consideration of what society thinks. We should act on our own thoughts before they are filtered through society's demands for normalcy and consistency. Although God exists in every one of us, society pressures causes us to behave differently and unnaturally than God would have us act. The disparity creates a rift between our souls and the oversoul, which does not give partly of itself, as does the person who is afraid of inconsistency, but wholly. Although Emerson claims that God is within us, he faces the problem of explaining how we can come to recognize this existence. His answer lies in what he terms revelation. An influx of the divine mind into our mind. Note that he does not use the plural minds to describe our collective thinking, but opts to the singular mind to emphasize the bond that links all individual members of humankind together as one. Who else says this? All right, I'm already starting to get into what I think is going on here. I think anybody who follows some of the other spiritual leaders knows where I'm going with this. And it makes me a little bit frustrated, to be honest. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that I'll explain later. I'm going to keep going. Okay. Despite the differences between many theologies, they all demonstrate the oversoul's revelation, which the individual soul always mingles with the universal soul. In a state of ecstatic understanding, a person who is spiritually close to the oversoul has the victorious character and performs noble acts because the oversoul influences all actions. If he found his center, the deity will shine through him, through all the disguises of ignorance, temperaments, the unfavorable circumstances. The image of the deity shining like a light through individuals evokes and invokes many biblical references to God as light, of which Psalms 27 is but one apt example. The Lord is my light and my salvation. The simplest person who is in his integrity worships God, becomes God, or behold and saith, I am born into the great, the universal mind. I am imperfect. Adore my perfect. All right, so I'm a little bit frustrated. I've been a big follower of the Law of One, the works of Ra. And I have a really sneaking suspicion that I was called to this man because I believe that Ralph Waldo Emerson was the original mind thinker of the universal mind, of the one infinite creator. I believe that Emerson he wrote this in 1841, way before the raw material came out. So was Ra influenced by Emerson, or did Carla Rucker and the gang read all these writings by Ralph Waldo Emerson and somehow collectively decide to create the Law of One? Or is it something that is real, that Ra was channeled? Maybe part of who Ra is Ralph Waldo Emerson. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? I'm very fascinated that I was awoken by the word oversoul just to find out that what I have been learning and researching for the past several years was written by someone else a century before the Law of One came out. So which came first, the chicken or the egg? I greatly admire the spiritual teachers who speak on the Law of One, very, very much so. So I don't know if I should prematurely be heartbroken by this, or if this is a learning experience, or if they are working together. Can somebody please in the comments section shed some light on this information, because I am very confused by it. And if you guys do a little bit of research on Ralph Waldo Emerson and read his works, I think you will be equally as confused as well, because he also, in a different essay, he talks about the new earth. He talks about us all being essentially God within. He talks about us all being one, how everything on the earth, from the animals to the plants and the trees, all peoples are one. We are all God. So this is 1841. How can the law of one be this new great material that we're just finding out about? Why did we forget about Ralph Waldo Emerson, or have we not? Please don't attack, because I know that the law of one and the raw material has a lot of followers, has a lot of love, and I still love. I really do. I love it very much. But as I'm shifting into this 4D reality, I am overcome with all this wisdom and all these ideas, and all these people who have passed away are feeding this information to me now, so I can I feel like the reason I am finding this out is I feel like this person is a little bit irritated with the raw of one works with raw, because I feel like he's feeling like maybe Ra and the people who channeled Ra are taking away from this man's work and his original ideas. Again, I'm up for, debate, discussion in a positive, loving way only. I will not respond to anybody who's mean. I'm not mean. So let's keep this really light. But I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to know what you guys think about this. This is really important to me. All right. So love and light to you all. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you very soon. If you are liking my videos, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please comment. It would mean the world to me. All right. You guys have a wonderful day. Talk soon. Bye-bye.